Hey, what's up, everybody? We have a special guest today joining us. She's my favorite. I'm not going to lie. It's my lovely wife, Tiffany Howard. She's joining us next. But before we do, I do want to encourage you to please share this episode. That's my ask for today, that you will share this episode with your friends or somebody that God lays on your heart. She is going to touch on all things health in her journey, a little bit of my journey, but how God has taken our lives and how he has put just such a passion inside her to help literally thousands of people. It's an amazing episode, and she gives some great tips away on how you can live a healthy life. All that and more coming up right after this. Welcome back to the When Words Don't Come Easy podcast. I am Andy Howard. If we have not met or this is your first time on, welcome. I hope you enjoy yourself today. As always, this is a podcast of hope, and I am excited you're here. This is actually already week 5 of our 6-week series. Man, it's gone fast. But week 5 of our 6-week series called The Real Stuff, Mental Health for Believers. And today, I'm just going to jump right in. Actually, my favorite guest of all time. It's her 4th time on the When Words Don't Come Easy podcast because she is my favorite. I have to say that. So without further ado, please welcome my dear wife, Miss Tiffany Howard. Hey, Tiff.
Well, I'm glad to be here, but not after that, because I'm like, wait a minute. If I'm not your favorite, The Rock has not come on here yet. So until he comes on, if he comes on, it's okay. You can take my place. But until he comes on, I better be the favorite.
It's always awkward introducing my wife, but it is awesome. You are my favorite, and I always love having you on. You're also my health coach. And so we've been through a lot together. You've known me through the good and the bad, through the thick and the thin, as they say.
and more than half of my life. I mean, we've known each other for a long time. We're going on, this year will be 20 years of marriage, y'all. 20 years. You feel old?
Of marriage, and we are still young.
Yes.
So that is
Dude,
awesome.
I look better now than when you married me. Let's get real.
We age well. People talk about me, you get in your 40s and talk about how life, you're not in your 40s yet. So
yeah, don't be making me older yet. I'm getting there.
You get in your 40s and people talk about how bad that is. And my 40s are much better than my 20s. I was morbidly obese, and not that there's anything wrong with that. I'm telling you,
well, that's what we're here to talk about.
From a health perspective, you have to get healthy, but I'm not shaming anyone for being that way because I was there. But, yes, in my 40s, it is wild. As I turned 40, I remember, in fact, I talk about it much in the book. When I turned 40, I started doing things I never did in my 20s, and I started chasing new goals and new dreams and stuff like that. So I do feel like it's a brand new life for me, even at 40. And I think it all comes down to your health, and that age doesn't matter near as much as your health matters. And so there are some people in their 20s who, because I know a lot of our friends who we run and hang out with these days because of our health circle. I know friends in our 50s and 60s even that make those people in the 20s look shameful.
Yeah, absolutely. So, I mean, I think about one of our friends, Ray Goff. A lot of people may know him, but he's the 70, and I mean, he looks better than I sure did at 20, better than you sure did at 20.
Come on.
Well, I'm just saying, but it's proof that, it's crazy. You can see someone 60 years old, like you can see 2 people at the same age and be in completely different states of health. When you're younger, sometimes we don't realize the importance, but we are going to age, and it does matter. And since I was reminding you that I'm looking better now than our wedding day, you do, and you almost called me 40. You need to remember 2 things: that it is my birthday this month, and I'm still not 40. So don't forget. And the day after is our 20-year anniversary, which I actually am giving him grief about it, but I will tell y'all that a little secret insider joke. I'm really bad with details, and I have forgotten our anniversary many a times. And it's ridiculous considering it's the day after my birthday.
Yes.
And I remember one time he gave me a gift. This was just a couple years ago, and it was on our anniversary. I thought, it's for I literally thought it was for my birthday. And it wasn't until I went to bed that I was like, oh my gosh, it was our anniversary.
Oh, I knew.
Yeah, you would think being the day after my birthday, I would not forget, but I'm sorry, love. I do love you. You know, I don't do
You
details.
do not do details. In fact, your biggest surprise birthday you've ever thrown for me was on March the 3rd. It was the day after my birthday. And you brought in my family, and we went to this restaurant, and everybody was there like, surprise. And I was so shocked because usually I get on to your surprises. And I was like, wow, that was so clever of you to do it the day after. And you got this little sheepish look on your face. And that's when I realized you really thought my birthday was the 3rd. But it's okay. It's
But
okay.
I will also, in my defense, I will tell everybody I have dyslexia. I'm doing way better. I'm great. I don't use it as an excuse, but I am right now. And the month of March is the third month of the calendar. So I think that I just confused the third month with the third day.
Well, that's quite possible. Let's jump into this. Today, we are talking about health. This episode of this particular series is called Build Up Your Body. And you're the epitome of this, and you've helped me with this as well. Let's say we've been up and down throughout the years, but we got very serious about our health about 7 years ago and hit a very good goal weight. And we arrived there I'd say we sat there for maybe a year or two. And then we were like, but there should be more. And I remember after turning 40, so that was probably about 3 years into our health journey, as I like to say, my new life. I decided I wanted to run a Spartan at 40. And that was like the beginning of chasing new goals and new dreams. And the same for you. You ran a half marathon and you also completed the Spartan trifecta with me, and which is the 5K, the 10K, and the half marathon from a Spartan perspective. So there's also obstacles included. So I guess my question is for you, what was the change? What was the difference when you went from you were very healthy, you got to your goal weight, everybody would have said you were at the perfect weight for your height, then why chase more? What was it and what was the difference?
Well, I think that there was probably a lot of different things that came into play with that. I think you have to mentally be ready, for sure. And I think that's the same with even weight loss. You know, a lot of people, I mean, the whole world wants to be skinny and, all the things, but sometimes it really does come down to our desire and getting to a point of I'm done, like I'm miserable, I'm ready. And that's, of course, what started my health journey itself. But when I got to my goal weight, to be very transparent, and I share this pretty openly on my social media and with our team and clients, I figured out that you either are moving forwards or backwards in every area of your life. There is no such thing as maintenance. In fact, if you're a part of our team or in our Optavia world, you probably have heard us say maintenance is a cuss word because it really doesn't exist. And y'all know that that's the same as a parent in your marriage, in your spiritual walk, like even with friendships. I mean, everything you're doing, you're moving forward or you're moving backwards. And after I'd reached my healthy weight, I was trying to stay the same, but being very transparent, it was hard. Like I was struggling with staying the same weight because I had no goal other than the scale number. And so there came a point where I knew I had to find a new goal because if I didn't have something to chase, I would go backward. Again, that's every area of my life. I mean, I'm always chasing a new goal in one area. And so for me personally, I just had to set a pretty big goal, and that's just my personality. And so I will say that's probably not what I would suggest for everyone that's listening to this podcast. But I've actually, through this whole journey, have become not an all or nothing person. My whole life was all or nothing, eating healthy or eating bad, chasing this or not at all. It was very much that way. But I've actually gotten so much healthier in that mindset through my health journey, realizing that everything in moderation, that it's not all or nothing. It's one habit, one step at a time. What can I do today better than I did yesterday? And, if I eat a piece of cake, it's not bad. It doesn't make me bad and go binge eat. So I've gotten so healthy mentally around that. But when I set goals, I like to set big goals that I can crush and I can be really proud of myself. And so instead of setting a 5K goal, I said, let's set a half marathon goal. And I knew that to get to that, I would do a 5K, a 10K, all the things, but I needed something big enough that I would feel really proud when I completed it. And I would know that that was a huge challenge for me. Whereas the 5K, although was a challenge, it wasn't near as big of a challenge as a half marathon. And so I just came to that point of knowing I have to move forward in my health. And for me, it was setting that goal. And I'm not going to lie, I'm a recognition person. So I wanted to do something that other people would know I did, and I could bring some friends along. I actually there was like 20 girlfriends that did it with me, and we did everything together. And so when we got to the finish line, like, it was a big accomplishment.
Well, I tell people all the time when I get to speak, when I travel, that God has a sense of humor. The reason I say that is because in almost every facet of my life, the very thing that almost killed me is now what God is using for us, whether it was my health, whether it was my mental health with depression, whether it was even our finances and some of our biggest struggles. God has used every single area. Now we're versed each of those areas. And you are an independent Optavia coach. What is your favorite thing about this journey, about being an independent Optavia coach and helping people?
Well, there's so many things about Optavia. And when I came into Optavia, just again, I'm a very authentic person. I tell my truth. I don't want to sugarcoat. I say all the time, I don't sugarcoat things because sugar made me fat. But, I started a diet. That's truly what I thought of Optavia when I started, because everything else I had done up to that point in my life was a diet. It was, I'm going to eat this way to lose the weight and go back to what I'm doing. I mean, that's what I had done. But I did not realize, and I'm so thankful, I had no idea when I stepped into Optavia that it was truly going to transform everything, especially my mindset. And I believe that that's one of the biggest keys about what's different about our program to everything else out there, is we really focus on the mental side of health and weight. And most of the time, I tell my clients all the time, it's not your stomach that makes you overweight. It's your head that makes you overweight. Like, unless you come in, you need to lose 5 pounds because you had a baby and you'd never been unhealthy your whole life. There are people like that in the world, but most of our people come into us, really unhealthy in their mindset. They use food for emotion. They use food to celebrate, to cry, whatever it is. There's so many reasons people eat. And so I really love that when I came into this, I thought it was a diet, but what I realized was it was really going to change my mental relationship with food. And that's what I needed. And so for me, that definitely is the biggest piece. And I believe that's in every area. So whether it's your weight that you're struggling with, or eating, or if it's alcoholism or drug addiction or shopping, whatever your vice is, it really isn't the vice. It's the underlying root of whatever is causing you to use that vice. And so for me, food was my comfort. It was what I used to celebrate. It was everything to me. If I was tired at the end of a day, if I had a hard day, I used food. And so I love that Optavia really helped me to change my mindset, and then to really understand that health is so many levels. Getting healthy weight is just truly the first step. And then it's continuing to level up over and over again. As I've continued that journey, I think what's great is it's not, from one extreme to the other. Like, I was super obese and now I'm going to run a half marathon tomorrow. Like, that's not what we want people to do. We want people to take it in small increments that they can manage. It has to be sustainable. But once you reach your first goal, now you're building confidence with yourself that you can make another goal. And then you do that and you build more confidence in yourself, and your goals continue to build on each other until they are as big as what, we've accomplished. And some of our friends have even accomplished more that we are attaining to, acquiring to do.
I would ask you this, and I've known you longer than I have not known you, put it that way. And my question, I guess, for you is, how did you become so passionate about health? And maybe it was always there and you didn't have the right tools, but I would love to hear your answer, because most people who meet you or get to know you or hear you speak from stage, even your live trainings, they just see you drip with this passion for health. So where did that come from, and how did you become so passionate about health?
Anything that radically changes your life is something that you're passionate about. I know a lot of people who are listening to your podcast are believers. And if you're not a believer, we're so glad that you're here. We're so glad that you're open and curious. But as a believer, like, Jesus has radically changed my life. And so I'm so passionate about that I want to share him with others. And, health is not as important as Jesus, but in my book, it's one of the next ones. And my life was so radically transformed because at the age of 18, I was 317 pounds. And I will never forget walking up these stairs. I was in apartment management, and I worked in some apartments. I had to give a lot of eviction notices. And so on the third of the month, I would walk all over the complex and have to walk up and down stairs. And at 18 years old, coming down the stairs, I sat down because I felt like I was having a heart attack at the age of 18. And I felt so miserable. I mean, I literally wore the biggest size clothes in a store. I was a size 28 and there was nothing larger. And that was 18 years old, and I could barely breathe to walk. And I had such a miserable quality of life. I was tired all the time. I was falling asleep at my desk in the middle of the day. I mean, I remember laying down on the couch in our office and praying no one would walk in the door after lunch because I was so tired at 18 years old. And so when I got healthy, my life literally did a 180, and my life was polar opposite once I became healthy. And because of that, it created a passion in me that I felt like I had found the miracle. Like I really did. And I'm like, I have to share this miracle with others. And so that's really where the passion comes. And then as I've continued to journey this out, my passion has grown because not only do I know that people can lose weight and get healthy, but then they can take it to the next level and the next level and the next level. And as I've done that, I found so much more joy. I never knew that like working out would become like my drug. Like, yeah, we don't want to have an addiction, but if you're going to be addicted to something, let it be something good. And, I felt very addicted to working out because of what that's done and how good I feel. And so my passion just comes from that and wanting other people to experience what I've experienced.
Well, even the science behind it will tell you you feel better after working out. I used to think people were crazy when they said that. I never understood that. I didn't like working out up until actually, again, 40 was kind of that magic mark for me. I kind of drew the line in the sand and thought it was almost a George Costanza type moment where I thought everything I've done up until this point hasn't worked. Let me do the opposite. So I started doing the opposite of things. And even just, I remember a trip with you and my buddy Russ in Hawaii. And it was like, normally I don't get in the ocean, but Russ says, let's get in the ocean. So I got in the ocean and we swam way out there. I'll never forget that. And people are looking like, are you crazy? Yes, I'm doing it because Russ said we're doing it. And then he even, I tried seafood that week. I don't like seafood, still don't like it. I was going to
It's
jump
crazy,
off.
y'all. I had fish for lunch.
I was going to jump off a, cliff dive that day just because Russ said it. I was going to do it. So anyways, I tried all the opposite stuff. And then I think how I got addicted to working out. Russ, I saw how committed he was to working out, even on vacation, not really vacations, but traveling. We just travel a lot more now. And I was like, wow, you can work out and you can feel good. So, anyways, the science behind it is you literally do feel better. You release endorphins when you sweat, when you work out. My question for you is maybe there's someone who hasn't taken that next step in their personal health or even for their mental health, but how would you encourage them to dive into that if they're looking into incorporating working out? Or maybe they're not even working out. I know you give tips to your clients all the time on little ways to improve that, even if they're not in a gym. But what would you say to that?
Yeah, I would definitely say everyone listening obviously is going to be in a very different place in their health. And so my suggestion is for you to figure out what's next for you. Like, what do you need to do? Is it that you need to focus on weight loss first? Or even as you're, losing weight, you can do some working out. My biggest suggestion, and I always tell people this, is you don't want to try to do everything at once. It's like you may be listening to Andy and I, and, I've lost 200 pounds. Andy lost 150. We ran all these races and done all these things. And so it could be easy for you, maybe you're motivated and you're like, I want to do that. I want to go sign up for a Spartan, but you need to lose weight or you need to lose 50 pounds. It doesn't need to be all or nothing. It's why so many people in January fail because they need to lose all this weight, but they go to the gym. I'm going to go to the gym every day. I'm going to drink all this water. I'm going to meal prep 7 days a week. And that lasts for about a week or two. And then they go back because it's too much change at once. And so figuring out what is your next step. And if it's fitness, then my encouragement is start small and build. I knew that for me, when I started fitness, as I was losing weight on my health journey, I started incorporating walking. And that seems so like people way underestimate what walking will do for someone. And so even when my clients get a couple weeks on our weight loss program, I am starting them on a walking program 2 weeks in. And I'm like, can you commit to 3 days? Can you just commit to 3 days, 30 minutes, a day for 3 days a week? And that will help you get started And it does increase your endorphins in your brain, and you're proud of yourself. And I will tell you that fitness in any form, whether it's walking or you're going to CrossFit or whatever, it truly is. It's like a miracle. If people were exercising all the time, we'd have way less people on depression meds, y'all. Like, and listen, I'm not against meds. I've taken meds, but I will tell you that fitness is like a drug to me. It's what keeps me mentally sane. And so maybe it's you need to incorporate walking in 3 days a week, 30 minutes. Maybe you just need to start creating healthier habits simply. Like, my girls know, our girls, mine and Andy's, he had something to do with it, y'all. But they know the Howards do not take escalators. The Howards don't take elevators, and we park far away. So, like, literally, I was just on a cruise and at Disney with one of my baby dolls. And we walked over 15 miles a day, and we took the stairs everywhere we went. Even on the cruise, we never took an elevator, and it was 12 flights of stairs all day long. But my girls know Howards take the stairs, and they literally say that. And that's an easy way to incorporate exercise without it being drastic. Or it's parking far away at the grocery store to get a few extra steps in, and it helps your car not get dinged, which is really nice. It's just trying to take more steps every day, y'all. It doesn't have to be like go to CrossFit tomorrow. It's like how these little things add up. So maybe it's starting there, or maybe you're walking and you need to take it to the next level. And I always say when you're starting a gym program, do something you enjoy first. So for me, now I'm at a place where I'm lifting weights and I'm doing a lot of hard things. But when I started the gym, the idea of lifting weights was terrifying and boring. So I actually started with a dance class, y'all, because if y'all know me, and some of you do, some of you don't, I could dance the night away. And so I started with it was called U Jam. I don't know if you've heard of it, but it was a dance class. And I was having so much fun dancing to the music. And it was a great way to burn some calories and have fun. And I did that for a while. And then I built up to the next thing. And then I went to my next thing. And so finding something you actually enjoy, and don't start 7 days a week, just start 3 days a week and just build up. And then even in your nutrition, and I'll, make this quick, but maybe it's time that you find a nutrition plan that's easy and sustainable. And of course, as an Optavia coach, I'm going to tell you Optavia is a wonderful program and it's very easy. But even making small changes, it doesn't, again, yes, picking a great program is awesome. And I would encourage you, if you're at that place mentally, do that. Maybe, meal prepping is too much for you, but maybe picking a program like Optavia that can really help you make it simple. But even as simple as stop ordering the sweet tea at dinner and order a water, or maybe drink 3 sodas a day. Let's just drink 2, or maybe trade that bag of chips for a salad. It doesn't have to be all or nothing. These small changes, not only will they add up, but they actually become more sustainable. You don't have to give up everything you love. That's one of the biggest things that Andy and I have learned is it's not all or nothing. You know what? If you're eating red meat 7 days a week, maybe eat it 4 days a week. Like these little incremental changes will make a huge difference over time.
So good. And one thing that has helped me the most, and one reason why I loved Optavia so much as well, but I guess my next phase where I've been trying to lift more and do different events. It's about the people you surround yourself with. And so I always try to find someone better than me. And it pushes me and it helps me. But one, they encourage you, but they drive you even when they don't even realize it, that they're inspiring you. And so I've had so many friends along the way, and it's just so much more fun to do things with people. So in closing, one, just let everybody know how they can find you. I know you're on pretty much all the socials, but let them know how they can find you if they're interested in joining up or asking you questions about health or even Optavia or anything else. And then in closing, just is there anything that's on your heart right now that you haven't shared that you just you want to discuss on this topic?
Yeah, so you can find me on Facebook at Tiffany Underwood Howard. Yes, my middle name or my maiden name is Underwood, and they call me Underwear all through school. But it's not Tiffany Underwear Howard. It's Tiffany Underwood Howard on Facebook. And on Instagram, it's Miss_MRS, Miss_ Tiffany Howard. You can find me on both platforms. And, not only do I encourage, you can follow me. Yes, of course, if you're interested in Optavia, but I love to give away free value and give away free tips and recipes and things that will help anyone, no matter if you're on our program or not. Yes, I love Optavia, but I just love helping people. So I always am wanting to give away what I'm learning. So you can get a lot of good tips on there as well. And, in closing, a couple of things. One is just know that there's hope for you. I know that when, 7 years ago, before Andy and I started this program, and again, I'm not telling you need to start OptiV. I tell people all the time, I just want people to chase health, whether that's with us or with another, whatever works for you and that is doable for a long term. Like, I'm cheering you on, no matter what program you pick or what trainer or whatever, I'm cheering you on. That's my heart. It's not about our company. It's just about what will help you. But I remember 7 years ago, before we started our program, sitting down at this New Year's Eve at a pizza place, y'all, of all places, Andy and I and some good friends. And I was pretty much crying over the pizza, just saying, like, I'm so miserable, but I failed so many times. I felt hopeless. And I just want you to know, like, Andy and I's story, I hope that it gives you hope. We are not the minority. We don't have to be the minority. Like, our story is possible for anyone. Yes, it's taken us a 7-year journey, but it really did come down to one decision of saying, like, I'm willing to try again, because what if this is the time? And if you have a desire, it's like, just take that next step, whatever that looks like for you, connecting with a health coach, or, maybe you're doing well health, you're at a great place in your weight. Maybe you need to connect with a trainer that can help you take it to that next level. Or you need to get with a friend. Throughout Andy and I's journey, I've continued, like you said, surrounding yourself with people better than you is so key, because when you surround yourself with people just like you, they love you, but they really like you fitting into their mold just like them. And so maybe you need to find some people to spend time with that are a little better than you. And then, as believers, and I say this with like all love in my heart, because I wouldn't be on here speaking if I didn't love and care about people. So this is not said in a way to demean anyone, because I'm raising my hand. I was there for, 30 something years of my life on the struggle bus. But as a believer, I think that this is one topic that the church doesn't talk enough about, that the Bible truly does tell us that our body is the temple of the Holy Spirit. And I believe that, as the word says, he wants us to run a good race. And when we're unhealthy, it's very hard for us to do what God calls us to do and do it to our best and our fullest ability. And I will say that as a Christian, being in ministry for so many years, and I was so unhealthy, it was hard. I was tired. I was very tired all the time. But I can tell you, as a believer today, at a healthy weight, I feel like I can be Jesus' hands and feet so much more. And I can run the good race, and I can do the things that he calls me to do because I have the energy. I feel good. And so, as believers, I do feel like this is an area that God wants us to have victory in. The devil wants to keep us stuck in unhealth, because not only does it affect our bodies and our race, the race we're supposed to run for him and the things he wants us to do, but it affects our mental health. And then, guys, that becomes generational. And if anything I'm passionate about, it's about breaking chains of obesity for our entire, like, the legacy that we're leaving. I am so passionate about my children being healthy and my grandchildren being healthy. And I don't want to repeat the cycle that Andy and I lived. We are here to break that. And so just know that what your decision is in your health will literally change the trajectory of your family for the better or for the worse.
So good. And you know what? We reached the end of another amazing podcast, Miss Tiff. So I would say thank you for coming on, and I will have to have you back because you have actually a knowledge of wealth. I joke a lot with you, but you have your expertise in so many different areas. And so we will definitely have you on again. And plus, I think I got this one every 10 episodes thing kind of going right now with you. So it's always good to have you. But thanks for joining us, and I will see you at dinner.
Sounds great. Thank you for having me, and encourage you all just to share this podcast with someone, share it on your social media. Andy's desire truly is to offer hope to a broken world, and people need us. And, he won't say these things because he's very humble. Andy is the most humble human I've ever met. And I mean that not because he's my husband. It's what attracted me to him. We call him the gentle giant. That's kind of his nickname. He's very tall, but he's very gentle. But I can't tell you how many stories that we hear of people who have listened to the podcast or read his book, people that were at some of the lowest points in their life. And they keep telling us that, the book or the podcast have given them hope, that there is a better life out there. And so I just encourage you that, because Andy won't do it enough for himself, but please share this podcast on your social media, in your stories, as a post. Share it with your friends, rate it, review it for him, and definitely get the book on Amazon because it is life-changing. So I love you, honey. I'm really proud of you.
Well, thank you, love. Thank you so much for that plug. And now I get to do that. But it was an honor having you on for real. That's the great Tiffany Howard, and I do mean great. And I love her dearly. And yes, if you have not had a chance to get the book When Words Don't Come Easy, I would be honored if you would do so. You can find out all the information you need at andyhoward.com. As well as this series that is going on, we have a brand new resource for you, andyhoward.com/mind, MIND. You can get that free resource, and it is, I believe, a resource that will save lives. It is that important to me. That's why I am pushing this resource. It is so good. And I'm so grateful for the team for putting that together, for all their hard work on making this. And it just turned out so good. So please share that andyhoward.com/mind to anyone who has come on your mind who may be struggling with some of the topics we've touched on this 6-week series. But as always, you can find the book at andyhoward.com. You can find it at amazon.com. If you're an Audible person and you'd like me to read it to you, I will even read it to you at Audible. We also have it available on Kindle. So thank you guys again so much for joining me on another amazing episode. And I pray if this episode has meant something to you or God has laid someone on your heart, please share this episode to them so we can get the word out mainly about hope and about health, because both are super important. God bless everybody.